Here is Charlie Bonner, one of my favorite folks here in town doing good work. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Mayor. And I just want to say thank you so much for doing these streams in general. As a young person who doesn't watch a lot of local news, this is the only way that I'm figuring out what's going on here in town. So I really appreciate you making this accessible for so many people.
Well, way too kind, and thanks for apparently watching sometimes. So you're on here today to talk to us about voting. You're with Move Texas.
Yes, sir.
Explain what that is.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Charlie Bonner. I'm the communications director at Move Texas. We're a nonpartisan nonprofit working to build political power for Texas's young people. And that manifests itself mostly in a lot of voter registration. Even amidst this pandemic, which has made voter registration really difficult, we announced yesterday that we've registered 25,000 young people this year.
Wow. That's incredible. How has voting changed since the last presidential context in terms of who votes? Not how to vote. Who votes?
Well, we are seeing both. We're seeing changes in how we're going to vote too. That's for sure.
Talk about them both.
We'll go both. But first, we are seeing a huge increase in the number of young people that are turning out to vote and that are registering to vote. So between 2014 and 2018, we saw youth voter registration in Texas triple. And we know that voting is a habit. So those people didn't just disappear in 2018. They're building up that habit of being a voter. And we know that they're going to show up again this time. And the state is getting younger and more diverse every day. And our electorate is really going to reflect that.
Pretty exciting. When I started in running an elected office, and I haven't been in elected office very long, so it's not that long time ago. But in 2014, all the political minds talked to me about how important it was to win the vote of people over 55 because they were the people that voted. And the young people never voted. You could go talk to as many young people as you wanted. It didn't help you actually win an election. But it was really focusing on people over 55 because they voted. But I'll tell you, in this last election that we just had here, I understand that almost 40% of the people that voted were under 40.
Yeah, the first time that's ever happened in Travis County. And it is in part because we had politicians like yourself showing up for young people. We met for the first time on campus when you were showing up and passing out donuts and things to folks waiting in line to vote. And this moment is really necessitating folks showing up for young people. Because as we had mentioned, voting's going to be different this year. And we know that many first-time voters are going to have difficulty navigating this system. And it's going to take all of us working together to make sure that young people have the resources that they need to be a voter.
How is voting different now than it was last election?
Yeah, well, first of all, as everyone has probably heard, a lot more people are going to be voting by mail. Even here in Texas, which has some pretty tight restrictions compared to the rest of the country, which is putting that mildly, we still know that many people qualify and maybe have never voted by mail before, and it's going to be really important that they get those ballots back in and make those requests early. This is not a year to be a procrastinator when it comes to voting. This is when we really need to get things in early. And there are still going to be many young people who qualify, whether they may have a disability or maybe they're registered to vote at an address that they're not currently at, like they're registered at home and they're now on campus. All of those folks qualify for vote by mail, and we need to make sure that we're walking them through this kind of complicated process. We also know that there's going to be a lot of different options to vote this year. We have a week more of early voting, which is really going to help us spread out the lines at the polling place. I don't suggest you go on the first day of early voting or the last day of early voting, but maybe find one of those middle days. If you can, take it on lunch, maybe in one of those weekend shifts that thankfully we will have. Travis County is also really lucky. You can go to the Travis County Elections website and they'll give you wait times for all those different polling locations. So you can go and find the one on your lunch break that might have the shortest line and make it really accessible for you. And we also know in Travis County, they're really investing to give different options to folks. So they're experimenting with a drive-through polling location where we can do some curbside voting. They're making sure that people can turn in their vote by mail ballots at the Travis County Clerk's office. So you don't even need to use the Postal Service. You can turn that in person. So lots of different ways that people are going to be voting this year.
Well, that's exciting to see. And it was safe. I voted in the last election here a few weeks ago, and everybody was distanced out. Everybody was wearing masks. There was plexiglass between me and the elections officials that were there. They even gave me a little balloon to stick on my finger so that.
I'm like, we're calling it a balloon? Okay.
What
Okay.
what would you call it?
The finger condom.
A finger condom. This is a family show I'm running here. But anyhow, it goes on your finger, and you get your own, and you can take it with you when you leave. But it's what you press when you use the button, and that's pretty exciting to that they're really taking care. And we need everybody to vote. But then in this presidential election, whatever side you're voting on, I would imagine that pretty much everybody actually really wants to vote in this election. Make sure that when you do, you go all the way through the whole ballot. Just don't vote for the president. Go all the way down. There's going to be really important measures on there. City council elections are going to be on there. The election for us being able to pass Project Connect and have regional transit's going to be on the ballot this year. So everybody needs to go down. What are some of the misconceptions or myths about voting?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times we hear that it's too difficult, that maybe folks don't have all the information that they need to be voters, especially this year when misinformation is all over the internet and all of the rules are changing, the dates of the election are changing. We know it's not easy right now, but it's so important for people to find trusted information like a stream like this, like groups like Move Texas, the League of Women Voters, and both our elections office and our tax assessor, all really great resources for people to make this as easy as possible. So I think we just have to remember that it is easy and people still can access voter registration. Many people only register in Texas when someone puts a clipboard in their hands at a concert or at a bar or on a college campus. And we're still trying to make that as accessible as possible right now. So if you go to movetexas.org/register, fill out your information. We'll pay to send you a voter registration application. We pay postage both ways. You just have to sign it, put it back in the mail before that October 5th deadline.
Well, that sounds awfully convenient. So everybody look, there it is, movetexas.org/register. You'll get an application, prepaid, sign it, send it back. Don't even have to find a stamp.
Easy.
Can't make it any easier than that. What are the deadlines that people need to be focused on?
Yeah, a lot of really important deadlines. And I think for folks that are really plugging in right now, asking how they can help, sharing these deadlines is absolutely critical. So the most important one coming up is that voter registration deadline, which is October 5th. And then after that is the start of early voting, which we have said is up a week this year. So that's going to start October 13th and run through October 30th and give you lots of days to get in there and get voting. And then that last day that you can request a vote by mail application is October 23rd, but do not wait until October 23rd. It's okay to start requesting it now, fill it out and get it in.
God, it's hard to believe that voting is actually going to start in less than 2 months. Less than 60
We're
days.
no longer counting down to election day, right? Because so many people are going to be voting early or by mail. The countdown starts way before election day of when people are going to need to get out there.
Well, I hope everybody votes. Make sure that you're registered. Make sure everybody in your family is registered. Make sure your friends are registered. Make sure strangers that you happen to talk to, make sure they're registered. And people like Charlie and Move Texas are making it easy. Charlie, thank you for the work you're doing. Really, 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 really important. It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Good to see you.